my name's Grandad.
Hello everyone, welcome back. Come on, let's get it over and done with.
Right, where do you start really? In the vlog 104, I think it was, where we fitted the diesel heater, we fitted a Mikuni MX50 diesel heater, and there isn't such a thing. So I don't know where to start with it really.
We've surpassed all our other duff.
All our duff information I've given you before. This is a perler, because yeah, we fitted a completely different heater to what we said.
Hey Dad, I've got it wrong again.
We fitted an MV MX50 from MV Heating, and it wasn't until we had a comment from one of our subscribers and one of our viewers, David Ward, who's not also got a Mikuni, because we ain't got a Mikuni, but he's got a Mikuni heater.
No, he hasn't anymore.
Oh, he hasn't anymore. Well, there you are then. So that's where the confusion lies.
He had a Mikuni.
That's it.
And something broke on it and he couldn't get the spares. So he had to replace it with a very expensive Webasto.
Yeah.
So that's why he questioned how we could get spares
for
it.
Mikuni.
Yeah.
But we can't.
Yeah. So he actually done our job and rang up MV Heating.
And they said they haven't fitted a Mikuni heater, they fitted an MV MX50.
Yeah.
So with his reply and his response to us, obviously we've now realised it isn't that.
What a plonker! What a plonker!
But to be fair, Mikuni do an MX40, an MX60. So when we were looking at this MX50, we just assumed it was Mikuni.
Yeah, we thought it was Mikuni.
Mikuni make, supplied by MV Heating.
Yeah.
But it's nothing to do with that. It's actually MV Heating's MX50 diesel heater.
Yeah. So I've quickly changed the title of that last vlog.
Yeah.
And you'll just have to ignore Grandad speaking about Mikuni on it, because otherwise it means me just uploading it all again.
Yeah.
So I've put the mistakes on the written words rather than have to
speak
over it. Yeah.
Okay.
So now we're going to do the other mistake.
Yeah. Which
we already have found out about from another viewer.
Yeah.
That we explained last week.
Which is this.
Yeah.
And the hoses.
Yeah. So when you go on the MV Heating website, you can go on the kit for narrowboats, but the kit for narrowboats, we now know the filter and the hose is not right for
narrowboats. Inland waterways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
if you order an inland waterways kit from MV Heating, you will get that filter and you'll get this type of hose. But if they're going in a narrowboat on the inland waterways,
in the engine bay,
you can't.
Yeah.
You've got to go for this little devil.
Yeah. Well, or we've been told we could go through this one.
With this filter, yeah.
But the reason why originally we didn't go through that filter was because on the instructions of the MV Heating MX50, it says that our pump needs to be at least...
It's got to be within 120 run from there. a
Yeah.
maximum, hasn't it?
Yeah.
1200 mil. Or,
And that was the most we could get it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have had it around this corner.
yeah,
But when we was told that it doesn't really matter how long that is,
Yes.
but we'd already done it now, and so we've decided just to keep that rather than change it all
yeah,
and put a new filter in at the end.
yes, yeah. Which is this.
Yeah, I hope that's all clear. I know we're going over it a few times, but we want to make sure
Yeah,
we get it right.
yeah. So yeah, this is going to be mounted here,
Yeah,
and then obviously we can drop the bottom out of that when we need to, and then we can feed it to there, off there, and then we can reroute this pipe onto that filter.
yeah.
So we'll just mount it onto this board there. Yeah,
So I'll leave you to get on with that.
yeah.
I'm going to go back in the bathroom doing trims.
All right, Nanny. I'm wrapping the threads on the hose tails with PTFE tape, but just being careful that you don't sort of go towards the very end of the fitting, so that there's no chance of any bits going off and being clogged up inside the filter. The fuel filter we've got is supplied by a company called Mellors online, and it's actually a Webasto marine fuel filter, It's got that little black shut-off valve on top, which is quite useful, but it may never get used. But we've actually got the auxiliary feed from the fuel tank anyway with a valve on it, and it's so close to the fuel filter. But I may do in future. The fuel hose we got from Advanced Fluid Solutions. The reason we chose them is when we searched the internet, we punched in fuel hose that was to ISO 7840 standard, and obviously they came up, so they're a UK company, so we ordered it through them.
Want any rags or anything?
Only a little drop in this because this bit's come out. We're going to flare all the ends of the copper tube. We tried it previously with the original hose fittings, the original hose that came, and it tended to chew the end of the hose up too much, so we scrapped that idea and just went for a sort of smoother ended copper pipe, just cut off with a pipe cutter. But this time, using this new hose that we've got, flaring the copper tube, when you push it in, it doesn't sort of deteriorate inside the tube, so you're not left with like little bits of rubber that can sort of block up the pump. And I've just used a bit of sandpaper to just lightly sand where the flaring tool sort of grips the pipe. It does like leave a few little teeth marks in there, so I've sanded those back.
Good that no diesel comes out, isn't it?
It's all drained out here.
Oh, right.
Also, after we've fitted the heater, I kept thinking about the exhausts, and I've decided that on the joints we're going to put some of this exhaust paste. Should have thought of it before, really, a bit obvious, but yeah, that's the next job today.
We're also going to put some heat mat on the wall behind the heater and behind the exhaust. That hasn't come yet, so we'll have to do that at a later stage. But the exhaust, it comes with that like red insulation. Is it protection? What is it called? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, exhaust cover. But it still gets really hot. So we're going to use the blue fiberglass heat wrap that we get for exhaust. So we've just got double cover on there, really.
I thought I'd lose 4 stone building this boat, not put it on. Once that was all done, I just added a few extra clips for a bit more support, and now time for the next amendment. I've had a comment from one of the subscribers, Reinhardt, and he'd mentioned about the fuse position for the alternator protect. It isn't actually mounted yet, but and he mentioned that we've put the fuse this end closer to the alternator protector, and he suggested really that we should actually have the fuse as close to this peg coming off the alternator positive as possible, which will protect that cable better. So we are going to do that. We aren't going to show you that, but this is something that we're actually going to do. It's just a case of taking this cable out, this positive cable out, turning it around and just swapping the ends over, so that yeah, the fuse will be then sat closer to this side rather than onto the alternator protect side.
So some other jobs that we've been doing inside the cabin, while all the in between all the electrics and the heater and stuff, is sorting out lots of trims and bits that need finishing on the ceilings, and this was one of them, the chimney. The chimney goes through the still, and we've cut away the insulation, the normal insulation that the rest of the boat's got, and now we want to add something there instead, just to stop the still from condensating, because there's nothing actually against it. So first of all, we make a template. because the gap that we've actually cut away from with the normal insulation, we've cut the normal insulation away, that gap isn't a pure circle. It's we just done it roughly, cut it away. So we needed a template to make sure that we cut this stuff the right sort of width all the way around. We haven't got a pad saw, so he's raided the kitchen cupboards again.
This stuff is what they call fire bat, ablative fire bat, but we're using it for its insulation qualities rather than being a fire retardant or a fire barrier.
What's it called?
This is from Rockwool, and that's what it is, Rockwool ablative fire bat.
Okay.
Yeah, it's used in the building industry for fire barriers between cavities and stuff. But we're not particularly using it for that. We're going to use it for the thermal qualities, the insulation qualities of it.
Our nice segments that we worked out and done little marks on, nice little pan pieces, end up being butchered. But we managed to get it all in, and then you just filled all the gaps,
All the seams and
pushed
gaps.
it all up.
Yeah.
So now hopefully it's doing a job where it's sealing all the steel, so the steel won't get condensation on it, hopefully.
Yeah.
The sealing plate that we brought, it's a bit awkward buying one already made, because you either get them with a oval middle for a really slanted wall ceiling, or a round one.
Circle,
But because the narrowboat roof is sort of like only a slight angle, we knew that it wasn't going to quite fit to try and get it over a straight chimney. So we've had to sort of like have a little gap somewhere. So we tried to see where we wanted the gap and decided on the back, and then I came up with a genius idea. Have a can of Guinness, chill out for a bit, and then use that can, because it was the same tone black, that we could fill that section in at the back with the Guinness can. I've not filmed making this because Grandad's had the camera in the engine bay, but just made a peg rail for the bathroom, and we're now going to get on with the trims. So all around the cable tray on the ceiling, we've done the trims so we can actually get into the cable tray if we want to. So some of the trims are stuck on the cable tray front, and the rest are stuck onto the ceiling. Instead of bringing the trim around the front where the shower door is, I've decided to add another peg and bring that sort of like coat rail all the way round, because it's easier to reach your towel off of that peg than
Reach around the corner. Really.
yeah. So this is for our towel when we're in the shower. Once the undercoat is on, we can see where we need to do little bits of filler with some cork. We want to try and avoid corking it at all if possible, because we want to be able to take these cable trays off, but there is areas that will need some. We notched out a little bit off the top of this cupboard door so it didn't catch on the trim. The other bit we've been waiting to cover up that we haven't done is the cables, the very thin cables that are for the fan in the toilet, and we've just had them hanging down the side and waiting to be boxed in. So we're going to use some of the same trim that we've used on the ceiling to box these in. We used two different strips of different types of trim that once they were stuck together and we corked in between, they looked like there was one piece of moulding. That extra peg is going to be quite useful.
Really handy. Can never have enough pegs.
I just want to fill that gap so it looks like it's part of the rest of the pegboard and go round, but yeah, I'm glad I've done that now. All the trims that we're putting on, covering over all the joints of the cable tray and like this one going up to the cable tray, we're only gluing on either half of that piece of trim or only onto the wall. So there's always a way of being able to get the cable tray off. These small bits that are going across the cable tray, they've only got glue on one side, so we know that we can take one side down with the trim on it and the other one don't have any on. So while Grandaddy's carrying on finishing these bits of trims, I just want to thank everyone for commenting last week, and also want to say we're not going to be doing a vlog next week. We're having a week off, not because we just want a week off, because we have run out of footage. We've just got to wait for some wood to come for the next lot. We did like to be 6 weeks ahead, but gradually all the electrics and everything, we've gradually caught up on ourselves. So we'll be back with you in about a fortnight with hopefully plenty of footage to show.